بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على المبعوث رحمة للعالمين نبينا وإمامنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه. أما بعد. الكبير السابع عشرة، اللواط أو اللواط. هنا مضبوط اللواط. Number 17. Al-Liwat, and the Muhaqqiq here gives it a Dhamma, ضبطه بالضمة. Al-Liwat. Allahu Alam. هذا عمل مشهور. What's important here, major sin number 17, according to Al-Dhahabi rahimahullah, says Liwat. And before we move any further, what is meant by the word or the term Liwat? That's the first question. And the second question is it proper to use this term, liwat? Is that proper Islamically? As far as the first issue, what is considered liwat? Is liwat translated accurately to mean homosexuality? For a person to be gay, a man being gay, doesn't include men and women initially? Or is it speaking about sodomy and buggery? There's a difference between the two, obviously, and the actual thing itself, let alone in the criminal punishment in Sharia. A man being gay, a man being, as we say, sweet or fruity, waliyadu billah, refuge of son-in-law, a man being quote-unquote homosexual, and a man being caught in the actual act of sodomy with another man. We didn't get into women yet, lesbianism, none of that. Just right now, we're talking about man and man. Just as we explained about khamr, and what's meant by khamr. Anything that is an intoxicant, but that is not the initial meaning of khamr. The initial meaning of khamr is actual drinking wine. Other drugs are included in that, without a doubt. Everybody understand that? There's no doubt about that. But the actual concept of those hadith that speak on khamr, that are things being drunk, liquid. So here we say al-liwat. What is meant by that? Because there's a difference. A person could live in the Islamic state in which the Sharia is the constitution, the laws are ran and based off of the Sharia Islamiyah. A person being a homosexual, a man being gay, without a doubt, it's haram. It's not permissible at all. But it's not necessarily the same crime, punishable by specific punishments. Homosexuality and sodomy. There's a difference as well. So what's important here, he says, al-liwat or al-luwat. So that's the first question. What's meant by that? And once you understand this difference, all types of problems don't even apply anymore. If a person is gay, does that mean he's to be punished by death? If a man is feminine, does that mean he's punished by death, capital punishment in the Sharia? Or if a man is caught doing that act with another man? So this, not saying it is or it isn't, but just to show you how the leverage can be used against those who say, well, I was born like this. How can you punish me like this? Everybody understand this? Allah made me like this. I have an inclination towards men. I don't like women. Or, waliyadu billah, I was made with just the concept of being feminine, extremely feminine and soft and gay like this. Allah made me like this. So how can I be punished? Stoned to death, thrown off of a building, burned alive, the sword put to my neck, so on and so forth. Everybody understand this? Everybody clear on this? This is a very important concept here. That's first and foremost. Secondly is it permissible? Is it lawful? Is it accurate for us to say liwat? Or for us, not even worse than liwat, is for us to call someone a luti and say amal, عمل قوم لوط. هذا يختلف عن لوط. هذه نسبة إلى النبي الكريم عليه الصلاة والسلام. لوط عمل قوم لوط لا إشكال، يختلف تماما الاختلاف. Then can you call someone a Luti, attributing them to the Prophet Lut alayhi salam? Is that permissible to say? Or you give him another name and another title. When you attribute someone directly to the Nabi, it's obviously going to have to be something good. Say a Muhammadi. Everybody understand this? A Muhammadi. And this goes to show you the ignorance of those who call people Wahhabis. Whether you agree with Muhammad Abdul Wahhab and his da'wah and his students, his disciples or not. It's not what we're here to talk about and discuss. Whether you liked him or hate him. Whether you thought what he came with was correct or incorrect. Al-Muhim. To call somebody a Wahhabi is disrespect to the names of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Innaka anta al-Wahhab. Allah's name is Al-Wahhab. So the moment you call someone a Wahhabi in a derogatory term, this is like you call him Rahman. You're attributing him to Allah. How can anything that you feel is negative and evil and bad be attributed what? To Allah's name, subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the Prophet said in his dua, وَالشَّرُّ لَيْسَ إِلَيْكِ. So there's no evil unto you, O Allah. All khair. وَالْخَيْرُ, he says, كُلُّهُ بِيَدَيْكِ. All good is in your hands. And there's no evil that is to you, attributed to you, or from you. So how can you call someone a Wahhabi? Everybody clearly, this shows a great deal of disrespect based off of ignorance. You can call someone a Najdi, طيب. This term, that term. But to call him Wahhabi is a mushkila. It's a problem. Everybody understand this? And we're just talking about the concept. We're not talking about Muhammad ibn Abdul Wahhab rahimahullah. بِخَيْرٍ أو بِشَرٍ. Good or bad. It's not even, if you don't say how أنت تنتقص من Shaykh Muhammad Abdul Wahhab. يقول أحد الجهلة. لا. We're not here talking about him praising or dispraising. Now, we're trying to make a point here. Khairan inshallah. So these are just a few things to be mindful of. The author rahimahullah says, قَدْ نَصَّ اللَّهُ عَلَيْنَا قِصَّةَ لُوطٍ وَقَوْمٍ قال قد قص الله علينا قصة لوط في غير ما موضع من كتابه العزيز وأنه أهلكهم بفعلهم الخبيث وأجمع المسلمون من أهل الملل أن التلوط من الكبائر. قال الله تعالى أتأتون الذكران من العالمين وتذرون ما خلقكم ربكم من أزواجكم بل أنتم قوم عادون واللواط أفحش من الزنا وأقبح. He says Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has spoken on this issue in several places of the glorious book, speaking about the people of Lut and their story, and that he destroyed them because of this horrible practice, this foul practice. So Al-Dhahabi rahimahullah, he says that Allah destroyed them because of their homosexuality and their sodomy, not that he destroyed them because of rape and because of other things. Yeah, I mean, people today, they come and they say, there's no verse in the Quran, there's no hadith of the Prophet that proves it's impermissible for a person to be homosexual. There's nothing that says it's haram. That's what they say. And they say the story of Lut, Allah only destroyed them because they were raping men. That's why Allah destroyed them, not just because they were faggots. Some people, they say this. And they consider themselves to be learned and educated. Just like the man who said, you can make zina with a woman as long as you wear a condom. As long as you wear a condom, then zina is permissible. It's not zina. La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. So he says that Allah destroyed them because of their amal khabith, their foul, wicked act. Everybody understand this? And if it was just rape, then Allah would have destroyed the other people as well. That's not what it was. And even for argument's sake, okay, for argument's sake, that's why Allah destroyed them. It was men raping other men. It was what? It was men raping other men. So this still proves that the act was sick and foul. And is that true? Where is it mentioned that they were raping men? And that verse that Al-Dhahabi mentions, أَتَأْتُونَ الذُّكْرَانِ. He says, you go to men, to males. مِنَ الْعَالَمِينَ وَتَذَرُونَ مَا خَلَقَكُمْ رَبُّكُمْ مِنْ أَزْوَاجِكُمْ. And you leave off the wives that Allah has created for you. So even if it was a case, an issue of the men that were being raped, Allah destroyed the rapers Or the rapists or those that were raped? Oh, so that's batil. That's kadhib. That's incorrect. 101%. Which is based off of pure satanic desires. Waliyadu billah. So therefore, verse says, Atatuna dhukran. Allah says, you go to males from among the alameen, وَتَذَرُونَ, and you abandon and you leave off the wives that Allah has created for you, proving that homosexuality is unnatural. And that is not how Allah created the man. Allah created the man with the natural, physical, mental inclination towards a woman with this verse in the Quran. Allah said that He created azwaj. He made them for you. The fitrah. So those who say that a man is born like that and he's made like that, that's not true. And for argument's sake, even if a person did say that, is that the creation of Allah? That's the standard creation? Someone who's born with that inclination? Born with that feeling? Or born with that way of just being feminine? Is that Allah's creation? Or is that something that is out of the norm? Just like physical retardation. There's no doubt many people are born what? Physically or mentally retarded. Deformed. Missing things with extra things. Allah tells us in the Quran that He created man fi ahsani taqweem. He created man in what? In the best form, the best fashion. So the asl of Allah's creation is that it's perfect or imperfect. Which is the two? Without a doubt. A person is born with 5 toes. That doesn't negate that from time to time a person is born with a 6th toe. Allah made the human mind strong and sound and firm. But there could be someone that's made with what? A mental illness, a mental disorder. That does not state that everybody is born with a mental disorder. And that it's okay and acceptable and normal to be born with a mental disorder. For argument's sake, that's what? Exception to 99% of the asl. Everybody understand this? The comparison of those who have mental illnesses, physical illness. How many toes you have? Let me see your foot. How many? Raise your hand if you have 5 toes in the masjid. Everybody understand this? So the majority of the people, everybody on this? So that's also another trick that won't work. According to Quran and Sunnah, let alone according to just common aql. He says here, Bal antum qawmun adun. He says, rather you people are transgressors. You're transgressing the boundaries. He says here, وَاللِّوَاطْ أَفْحَشُ مِنَ الزِّنَا وَأَقْبَحُ. And there's no doubt, he says that it is far worse and more ugly than fornication. Hadith number 141. He says, وقال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم اقتل الفاعل والمفعول به إسناده حسن. Hadith number 141, he says that the Prophet ﷺ says, kill the doer and he whom is done to. And this hadith is isnad is hasan. The hadith says, kill the fa'il, the doer, wal maf'ul bihi. I say what? Dominant. And the one who's been dominated. Everybody understand this? He who goes and he who is done to. He says, execute both of them. Al-Dhahbi rahimahullah, he grades this hadith as having a hasan chain of narration. It's a very long discussion on the hadith. Moving on, hadith number 142. وعنه صلى الله عليه وسلم لعن الله من عمل قوم لوط إسناده حسن. The Prophet ﷺ also says, Allah curses those who perform the acts of the people of Lut. Allah curses them. Hadith number 143. وقال ابن عباس ينظر أعلى بنا في القرية فيلقى من ثم يتبع بالحجارة. Ibn Abbas said, look at the highest place in the city, the highest point in town, then he should be thrown therefrom, then pelted with stones. Thrown off of that cliff, then pelted with stones. ويروى عن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم أنه قال سحاق النساء زينا بينهن. It has also been mentioned that the Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم says lesbianism is considered zina among women. Lesbianism is zina among women. وهذا إسناده لين. He says, in the chain of narration of that hadith isn't so strong. ومذهب الشافعي رحمه الله أن حد اللوط حد الزنا سواء وأجمعت الأمة على من فعل بمملوكه فهو لوطي مجرم. He says, Imam al-Shafi'i rahimahullah, his madhab is that the prescribed punishment for his, that word is used, luti. The prescribed punishment for someone who does that is the same exact prescribed punishment as zina, no difference. And he says, in the Ummah of Islam, they unanimously agree that anyone who does it with his slave, then he is a mujrim. He's a homosexual and he is a criminal. We have several different issues here. The first issue is a man being caught with a man. Waliyadu billah. Is the sheer act, as we said, of being gay, quote unquote, is that the crime that necessitates them being punished? The specific had. And we have to understand something, brothers and sisters. When we speak on criminal law, we have two main concepts. The first is al-had, and the second is called al-ta'zir. Al-had and al-ta'zir. The had, as many other people now say, is the act which is specifically mentioned in the Kitab and Sunnah. Specifically mentioned in the Kitab and Sunnah, or there's ijma' for. And the ta'zir is an act which is not explicitly mentioned in the Kitab and in the Sunnah. And it goes back to the ijtihad of the Imam. His reasoning, his deduction. What does he feel and see to be best with regards to inhibiting men and women from doing these acts? So the had has to be mentioned in the Kitab and Sunnah or ijma'. And the ta'zir, you can say, those who are found doing this will be flogged 10 times. They'll be locked up. They'll be fined. Even though there's no specific hadith supporting it. Everybody understand this? It goes back to his ijtihad. Just like many other issues of the hudud may go back to the ijtihad of the imam. But the asl, the foundation of it, is Kitab and Sunnah. So therefore, if a man is caught with a man, or we see a man walking down the street, and the Islamic ruler and the Islamic state wishes to punish this man because it is a crime, and it isn't for me or for you to decide what isn't Allah says that it's a crime. Everybody understand this? Just as you have your ways, things that you consider to be a crime, whether it is statutory rape, molestation, pedophilia, what you consider to be immorally or socially immoral, rejected, unaccepted. You can't have a 15-year-old wife in America. Why not? The girl is of age, physically and mentally. Her parents consent, she consents. So no. And those who do marry 15-year-old girls or who have sexual intercourse with 15-year-old girls, they will be punished. Whether you like it or whether you don't like it. That's the law. Who made that law? Who sent down that law? That's not important right now. What's important is that it is our job and our right to enforce that law. And the same applies to Islam. We believe in a law, a legal system that is divinely sent down. It's not for me, it's not for you to figure out what it is, what it isn't. So those who attack the Sharia and talk about these things, it's not up to me. Allah sent it down. It's my job to believe in it, to embrace it, and if I have that authority, to enforce it. Just as you believe with your own words that democracy should be in every country in the world. You believe that there should be no slavery in the world. Slavery should be banished. Everybody understand this? When the non-Muslims, the world powers, specifically Great Britain, when they felt that it was time to abolish slavery, they abolished slavery. And not only did they abolish it, but they also they went through great lengths, great measures to stop slavery, especially the Atlantic slave trade. And it became a crime. Anyone caught with slaves from Africa to the Caribbean, to South America, to North America, it's punishable by law. But we still feel that slavery is okay. You imported slaves, you sold slaves, why can't? No, that has to stop now. And if you're caught with these slaves after we declare this rule, then you're what? You're going to be punished, because it's what we believe in, for one reason or another. So it is the ultimate standard of hypocrisy. Everybody understand this? The ultimate standard of hypocrisy. You enforce your laws that are man-made, but Muslims are not allowed to enforce their laws, which they believe are godly, sent down from Allah, divine. That doesn't make any sense. Everybody understand this? So you have to read history. You have to read history. So the whole concept of Islam and the Sharia, why is a woman like this? Why is a man like that? Why does this person, why? Allah, Rabbul Alameen. And if you don't have the faith, if you do not accept it, then we can't even sit down and have a debate or discussion. We can't even have a debate and a discussion. Everybody understand this? So therefore, in the Islamic state, with the Islamic ruler, and the Sharia is the constitution, two men are caught with each other. Are they killed? Do they face capital punishment? Someone being gay? Or is it the act in which two men are with each other, like a man and a woman? Everybody clear on this? The Imam could punish them, or could punish someone who's gay, to make an example, to inhibit others from doing it, and from practicing it. Everybody understand this? But it doesn't necessarily mean that he would kill him just for being gay. Everybody feel that? Until he what? Sodomizes another man or sodomized. Everybody understand this? That's first and foremost. Second concept is, with regards to women, that hadith is not sahih. But what is the punishment for a woman being a lesbian? Many of the ulama, they say that there's no specific had. Rather, there's ta'zir. There's a punishment that is to be determined by the ruler of Islam. Women should be locked up. They should be this. They're going to be whipped. They're going to be keda. They're going to be banished. They're going to be kicked out. But there is no specific capital punishment against them. Everybody understand that? Lesbianism is wrong. It's foul. It's evil. But there lies no doubt it is not of the same severity and level of liwat, for several different reasons that we're not going to explain right now. And last but not least is, what is the punishment for sodomy? All of the Sahaba, they agree that they face capital punishment. But they differ on the manner of that capital punishment. How are they to be executed? Obviously, they're to be executed in a way in which inhibits the people from feeling comfortable with that horrible, disgusting act. Whether it is them being burnt alive, whether it is them being thrown off a building, whether it is a wall collapsing upon them, they differed on how, and then none of them differed on the act. So for argument's sake, there's no Quran, there's no verse in the Quran, there's no hadith that states that it's impermissible. What about the ijma' of the Sahaba? هذا مو دليل عندك طيب في الأصول? The consensus of the companions. That's not legal proof in Islam. Everybody understand this? And then last but not least, is it considered to be the same punishment as zina or not? That's a whole nother topic in itself. Such as if a man was married before, then he commits homosexuality. Different tafasir, different details and branches of fiqh. What is important here is that is the major sin. We're not here to discuss all of these issues right now, today, this morning. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows best. We ask Him to protect us all from this major sin and all of the major sins. Wallahu ta'ala alam.